up and down season from Tottenham so far. We got a lot to get through. I know I want to ask Sava as well, because I think you maybe have disagreed with a lot of things that me and Sim have been speaking about on the show on recent weeks, or maybe many more than recent weeks. So I want to give you an opportunity as well to bring up some points that maybe we can have a debate on. So maybe let's start with that.
Not so much you, Ben, more Sim. So more Sim. No, look. Listen, I watch. Obviously, I watch a lot of YouTube channels. I don't tend to comment as much in the comments for obvious reasons these days. But I watched your debate the other week. I think it was Ricky Sachs, Sean, and then you two. And I found it quite funny that I keep hearing, when Spurs lose games, I keep hearing that it's a process, right? It's a rebuild. And I think these words are absolute nonsense. I think they're absolute nonsense. I think they're buzzwords that nobody can actually define what any of them mean. They're just nice words to say. And what I'm seeing more and more is what I said at the beginning of the summer, is what will happen is when Spurs win games, Ange is magic. It's an Ange masterclass. The process is brilliant. When we lose games, it will be, well, the players are rubbish. Ange wasn't backed, and the players are too stupid to learn how to play a system. And that's exactly what's happened. And yeah, that's just a football opinion, guys, right? Let me just start off by it's just my football opinion. But yeah, listen, we'll talk all things Tottenham today, and yeah, that's just where I am with it all.
Just to be clear, have I ever said that the players are rubbish?
No, you didn't say it.
You consistently say they're amazing.
I think I never said they're amazing. I think they're good. I think we have a good squad. That's my point. Yeah, we have a good squad.
Yeah. Just before we get, because I think this goes in nicely to the first topic anyway. So just before, we got a couple of members chats. One from Ariane saying, "Big up Ariane. He's going to smash that." And
by the way, Ariane's Ben Davis stocks right now.
Ben Davis stocks are very high at the moment. Right, very high. It's been 10 years coming, but we're finally here, mate. We're finally here. Donovan Ostreicher says, 2 welterweights ready to spar it out. Big up, lads and panel. Let's go, Kings. But anyway, let's get into the first topic. And the first topic is going to be, is Ange the right man for the job? We're going to bring in Ariane first on this one. What's your opinion on Ange at the moment? Do you still feel he is the right man for the job?
I absolutely feel he's the best man for the job. I've been feeling that way since before we even appointed him. I have the clip. I still have the clip that I took from you guys' stream when we went, who should we get in? I said Ange Postecoglou. He's an elite manager, and I still stand by that. He's a phenomenal manager. I think everything that has gone right, kind of unironically making Sava's point, everything that has gone right has been Ange's brilliance, and everything that's gone wrong really hasn't been on Ange. Not that everything, literally, but most things that have gone wrong, I don't think you can pin the blame on Ange. And once we get into the details, of course, the devil's always in the details. I'm happy to get into those, but I think people are forgetting kind of the monumental job Ange had. And I think a lot of the criticism he gets is because he's a victim of his own success. I think if we never hit the ground running the way we did when he first started, people would be far more satisfied. I think that set an impossible standard that people are still trying to get from him. And we have to remember, this is a team that doesn't have Harry Kane, and let's be honest, doesn't really have the same Heung-min Son that the other managers had. It doesn't. So the monumental job that he has at his feet, and I think he's done a very good job. The way everyone's reacting to the season, we're 2 points off top 4 and 5 points off second place. Not saying that we need to, that's good, and 5 points off second, what a trophy. Of course not. But I think with the things that are going right, being when we have a squad that is fit, we're doing very well. The only blip we had when we had a fully fit squad was the admittedly horrendous second half at Brighton. Besides that, we were 7 wins and 7. It was something very nice. It was like 7 wins and 7. It was something like that. We were flying. We were absolutely flying. The only other team in the league with a similar, not even worse, similar injury crisis to us right now is Manchester City. They are winless in 7. Okay, he only is missing Rodri. You can say Doku as well, and then I think he's missing Oscar Bob as well. That's the third one he's missing. We're missing Vicario. We're missing Van de Ven. We're missing Romero. We're missing Bentancur. We're missing Solanke. This week we're missing Solanke. We're missing a lot of players, and the results are gonna falter. Like, let's be honest, the results are gonna falter. Like I said, Ange is a victim of his own success, his own early success, and like I said, the devil's in the details. I'm happy to get into those later on.
Sava, want to respond?
Yeah, I've written down every buzzword Arian's just said there. I've written it down, and I'll refute it all. Again, this is the problem for me. I'm sorry, guys. This is the problem. We've got people out here saying things like "victim of his own success." What success? I don't get it. I don't understand it. When we're going to look, if we look back and say he's a victim of his own success because of the first 10 games last season, that for me is what's making him in a job. If it wasn't for those first 10 games, the year under Ange since those 10 games has been horrible. Now, I know people don't like facts, but factually, it's been horrible. Arian has just told you a lot of again, sorry, I'm not being rude, but a lot of lies there in terms of we were in great form before players got injured. This isn't factually true in any way, shape, or form. And I bring facts to the table. So, Aaron, you're welcome to use your facts that you've got off the top of your head to scrutinize it. But you won't be able to because I've got the facts. And this is the thing. This season, before we got all these injuries, was the worst start to a Premier League season in 17 years. So, again, when people like Arian sit there and say, oh, we were flying before we got the injury. No, we weren't. No, we weren't. We were doing this exact same thing we're doing now before we had the injuries. The funny thing is, Aaron, you can screw your face up. The facts show it was the worst start to a Premier League season for 17 years. So we weren't flying. This hasn't happened just now. We've got injuries. We had all of our players available versus Crystal Palace and lost. We had who didn't play for Crystal Palace?
Son.
Right, who is arguably, you just said, not the same Son and not
he's
having
not.
a good
He's still
season.
Son. We had to play in teenage. I'm not. Look, I was going to get into the Crystal Palace game, but you want to talk about facts. That's a very quickly irrefutable fact. We had every player, but we didn't.
So Arian, so we can't beat Crystal Palace because a 32, 33-year-old Son is not playing. Let that sink in.
Straw man. That's not what I said. You said we didn't. We had every player available. I simply said you made a statement. Look, you just got on here and you started talking a big game about facts.
Arian,
all you did was misrepresent something, and all I did was correct you saying
Arian,
I didn't say the Crystal Palace game was good.
Listen.
I didn't say the Crystal Palace performance was acceptable.
Let me finish my point.
Let's have a finish.
I didn't cut in on you. I didn't cut in on your point while you were sitting there lying, right? So don't cut in on me, right?
Let's be respectful, guys. Let's be respectful. Come on.
No, I'll be respectful, but I didn't sit there and cut him off, right? Arian, at the end of the day, right? I didn't realize people were going to be this pedantic. Against Crystal Palace, we were missing Son, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't beat them. That's not an excuse. That is not an excuse in any way, shape, or form. For somebody that turns around and says we've got a brilliant manager who's brilliant, who's shown brilliance, and he's the right man, but now all of a sudden, well, Son didn't play. So what? Son's been poor this season. Let's call it for what it is. Son's been poor. We should beat Crystal Palace with whatever 11 we put out. Against Ipswich Town, we had Vicario in goal for Ipswich Town, right? We had these players. The only ones we didn't have were Van der Ven and Romero. And again, two of the better performers in this time where we've had injuries have been Davis and Dragushin. So when we're talking about, but we're missing players, they've been two of the better performers, Davis and Dragushin.
Yeah.
Right? You said we're a victim of our success. I refute that. There's been no success. There hasn't been success. So to say that doesn't make sense. Right? When we say the squad's not fit, right? When we beat Man City, all of these players were also missing. Right? And I didn't hear anyone come out after the Man City game and go, poor Ange, we've not got players. As soon as we don't win a game, but it's the squad, right? Again, Harry Kane, please can we stop talking about Harry Kane? Harry Kane has not been at this football club for a very, very long time, right? So when we say, oh, this manager's up against it, this manager knew he didn't have Harry Kane. He knew he didn't have Harry Kane. Right, he's brought a lot of forwards into the football club, right? Mm-hmm. Scoring goals has not been our problem. So when we say he's not got Kane, scoring isn't the issues. It's the crap tactics that are the issues. So sorry if I've come in a bit hot, but at the end of the day, we've got to be honest about this. The facts don't show he's brilliant. The facts don't show that we were flying. The facts don't show that the poor form has only coincided with injuries. This is not true. This is factually not true.
Savage, I just want to be just to nail you down on a position. Obviously, Ariane believes Ange is the right man for the job. From what you've seen so far since Ange has taken over, you have the position that we should sack him tomorrow. Is that your position?
Look, I don't want him here. I've not made any two bones. I won't sit on the fence. I don't want him here, Sim. I think tactically he's awful. I think he's dread. I've never seen teams carve through us as easily as they do at the moment. It's tactically. It's again, we can say that. You watch the games. Fulham overlapping, underlapping. It's easy to get through Tottenham. It's easy to get through us. Do I want him sacked tomorrow? I don't want him here. Whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next month, whether it's next year. For me, I just don't think this manager is good enough. He's told us, he's told you a lot, and he's told me he's got no interest in being pragmatic. Top managers know when to be pragmatic. This manager doesn't know how to kill off a game. We just seen it against Fulham and Roma, right? His tactics against Galatasaray were absolutely horrific. Ipswich, Leicester, Brighton, Newcastle, Arsenal. I don't know how many times we have to see it before people stop using buzzwords. Now, last thing I'll say is, guys, if someone turns around and goes, do you know what? It's been difficult for him. He's not doing well, but I want to give him time to see how he does. Fine. But when we're coming on with superlatives like brilliance, his own success, I don't know what this is based off. I need evidence. That's just me.
Well, Ariane, what is it based off? It's
based off the fact that, like I said, when we do, and I'm going to talk about this because he said it's false that the bad form coincides with injuries, and it's not false. So it's because when we do have our players available, we do play very well. Okay, and I will give examples. All right. First of all, let's look at the points. I know people make the point. I'm going to ask you this. Do you believe that any given loss signifies both a loss of form and necessarily being the manager's fault? Are both of those things true for every single loss or draw? What do you? That's a question.
To who?
To you. If every time we lose or drop points, is it always A, the manager's fault, and B, now a dip in form? What do you think?
No, not always, but when I look at a year of form and group it all together, then yes, it is.
Okay. So let's go game by game, because that's the easiest way to reconcile these things, right? Let's go game by game. You look at the Leicester game, okay? The start of the season. You want to talk about the start of the season being awful and horrendous? I think if you can just look at my post-match interviews. I've been optimistic about the season the entire season. I still am. The very beginning of that Leicester, the whole game, besides the first 10-ish minutes of that second half, which, by the way, was just the first 10 minutes when Solanke got on. He got injured at the very end of the first half. That's when he got the contact injury. We played phenomenally. We could have scored, if anyone remembers, we could have scored about 4 or 5 in that very first half. If that happened, Ange can't finish those chances. Ange can't look. At the end of the day, Ange can't finish his chances. I don't
remember 4 or 5 chances, Aaron, in the first half.
You don't remember? That's on you then. Look, here's the thing. You can come in here and talk about facts.
Name them. Name the proper chances we had. We had some half chances.
Solanke almost scored within the first 3 times in the first 6 minutes. Do you not remember this in the box?
He had a snap
Sim
header.
and Ben, tell me, am I crazy? Do you guys both not remember that?
We had. Look, I think from my understanding, from my memory, and from my recollection, we definitely deserve to win that Leicester game, 100%.
Absolutely.
I completely agree.
Absolutely.
I thought they opened us up like a can of worms in the second half.
They did for about 10, 15 minutes, yeah.
For about 10, 15 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
But did we win it? Did we win it?
No, but I just asked you, does every single loss see, but here's the thing, you can talk about facts, but you're going to keep moving goalposts, and that's what you're going to do. The reason I'm asking
Aaron, sorry.
You just talked about not interrupting.
I know, but hang on, you don't get to say I move goalposts. I'm so
Absolutely.
consistent on my channel. I don't move goalposts, mate. As I said to you, it's not about not winning one game. Yeah, it's the collective. When you look at all of the collective, most of the time when we lose games or don't win them, it's the same patterns trending. That's on the manager.
I mean, I want to just say, just before you go on, I mean, the way I look at things so far this season in isolation under Ange, I feel like at the beginning of the season, we were playing well and not getting the points. Against Newcastle, I think we deserved to win the game. Against Leicester, I think we deserved to win the game. Against Arsenal, I think we potentially even deserved just about a point in that game. I don't think either team were pretty good. But I do feel in recent weeks, when you're looking at the Ipswich game, when you're looking at the Crystal Palace game, when you're looking at the game on the weekend, the Fulham game, these performances we don't deserve anything out of, and these performances have not been good enough. So I think there's like give and take from maybe the first half of this bit of the season to the second half. But you can carry on.
There's
your
also games against Man City away, Villa at home. You know, games that we've been very good as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't discount that as well.
100%.
What were we talking about really quick? I just lost my train of thought.
You were going through game by game.
We're going to go game by game, apparently.
Okay. So yeah, in the Leicester game, like I said, we absolutely deserve to get a result out of that. Up until the Brighton game, and again, the Brighton game, I think it was. What I'm saying is, not every single loss. The Brighton game was a horrible loss. That one, I'm not saying Ange is like perfect and he doesn't deserve any criticism. I'm happy to give him criticism when he deserves it. And I think that Brighton game, he clearly didn't handle whatever happened in the dressing room well, and the players' mentality coming out of the dressing room wasn't good, and we got exactly what we deserved. Okay, my point is, though, not every single game, not every single point dropped is a result of something happening badly with the manager or even bad tactics. And when you said every single game is the same, every single game is the same problem, the alternative to that is every single game there being a new problem. That would be a far worse situation. Yes, we have a style of football that we play. It has strengths, it has weaknesses. The way a team, any team, perfects their style of play is by playing and by being consistent. Look at Arteta, okay? All of us agreed at one point. Arteta is clueless, he's an idiot, and Arsenal should keep him as long as possible. None of us think that anymore, okay? None of us. Because we were not present in that project. We were not paying attention to that project the same way Arsenal fans were, and clearly the Arsenal board were, and they've backed him and he's been successful. Okay, Ange has the very.
He's also not been successful. We've got to stop words that don't mean anything. He's not been successful.
Look, you want to. If your definition of success is clearly very strict, and it's you have to win trophies, and I don't necessarily disagree that trophies are the material proof of success. But obviously, Arsenal are much better now under Arteta than they were when he took over. Yes. They've had 2 title challenges in a row, probably a third one. They've gone deep in the Champions League, which is a competition they weren't in for a few years. That is progress.
And winning less. So Arsenal fans.
Arteta won an FA Cup in his first year. No?
Sure. The word less was important there. Winning less. There are Arsenal fans out there that are now.
Wait, Savile, is Ten Hag a success at United then? Is that what you would argue?
Yeah.
Are we talking about Arsenal? Or are we talking about Ten Hag?
I know. I'm talking about your standards. You're saying Arsenal Arteta's not a success because he didn't win trophies. But Ten Hag. So has Ten Hag been more successful at United than Arteta at Arsenal? Was that your standard? I'm just trying to honestly. I'm just trying to get you how you rate it. So that's how you say. So you would rather have Ten Hag as his job how we did in Man United than what Arteta's doing at Arsenal. Is that what you prefer?
I would. I don't think it's about what I would prefer. If I look at their 2 snapshots in time, Ten Hag was there for
we're having debate about is Ange. I know, but we're just trying to get is because maybe we're going for 2 different standards here. And Ariane is saying progress, and you're saying trophies in terms of where we see this club is going. So maybe you're arguing at you might be speaking past each other here. You might be talking about 2 different things about your standards.
Ask the Arsenal fans. Ask the Arsenal fans, right? They've had 5 years and they've won 1 FA Cup. Arsenal don't do that. So again, if you're going to talk about success, again, Arsenal fans will not say it's success.
Are Arsenal in a better position to win a trophy now than they were when Arteta took over? That's the question. Would you have rather Would you have rather been a United fan last year than an Arsenal fan? Seriously?
Seriously. Hang on. We're talking about 2 different things. The point is, for a club, Aaron, we definitely are, right? It's not about who I would rather have been a supporter of. That's a silly argument. The point is this: when you use the word success, it has to be benchmarked against that football club and what they do. Arsenal, now we hate Arsenal, obviously, right?
Right.
But even in the time, guys, how good was it under Poch at Spurs, right? Even in that time, Arsenal were winning FA Cups, League Cups. Arsenal were winning, right? So in the last 5 years, if you factually look at what Arteta's done, he's had nearly £1 billion of money, right? Been in 2 title races and won an FA Cup, which people will go, well, hang on, that was Emery's team that he won the FA Cup with. the team that he's actually built with hasn't won anything. So when we're talking about his success based on what is success to you as a fan?
Correct. He hasn't won any trophies since that first year, but you can clearly see that they're going in a much better direction now than they ever have been since Arsene Wenger. That's the reality.
Is that not true?
They've gone in a good direction. Yeah, they've gone in a good direction. And I think they've not taken the plunge to move it further forward, which is something we know about all too well at Spurs. But for me, has he been successful there? I don't think with the money he's spent and for how long he's had. No, I don't think he has been successful.
Anyway, let's bring the conversation back to Ange anyway, because this ain't bloody Arsenal fan TV. This is We Are Tottenham TV.
I didn't bring them up.
I can't remember where we veered off Ange, to be honest.
Because we're comparing the progress that our Arsenal made under Arteta to where we're heading under Ange.
Yeah.
Right, and I feel like maybe the beginning stages of Ange can be compared a bit to what the beginning stages of Arteta. I think you're right, Ariane. Everyone was calling him clueless. A lot of people are calling Ange clueless right now. At what point do the hierarchy and the Spurs fans actually stick through the tough times and actually stick with a manager? How many times are we just going to sit here and blame managers and keep sacking them and revolving door? When are we going to stick with one?
I don't know. And Sava, I have a question for you really quick. Just one word answer. I'm sure we all agree on this. You're Levy out, correct? You don't like Levy.
I've been Levy out since 2007. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I feel like it's a little bit, you can't blame the squad being so poor on Levy and in the same breath turn around and say it's Ange's problem.
Yes,
I think that's I disagree with that assessment because I think, like I said, you look at the games where we have you would agree we've had very good performances this season, yeah? I mean, I think that's just the fact. Like, right? Yep. You look at those performances, most of them all of them pretty much actually come with a fully fit squad. You mentioned the Ipswich game, by the way, where you said, "Oh, we had the best performers have been Dragic and Romero." Romero played the Ipswich game. He was at fault for both goals, if you remember correctly. He was absolutely at fault for both goals. Is Romero a bad player and is Davis a better player? Probably not. But you had Dragic on the left-hand side that game, and that was really the reason Ipswich were able to get so much out of us. All right? You want to look at every game tactically. The real problem with Ange that game was the fact that he selected Dragic on the left side anyway. That's my criticism of him. And like I said, Ange deserves criticism at times. But most of the times we've dropped points has been because of an inavailability. Okay?
It's not true.
And if
that's not true.
It is true.
Arian,
Every single bad performance has been because of unavailable players. Have we lost games besides the Brighton game? Okay, I will accept that. But
so why did we beat Man City?
Why did we beat Man City? Because they're also having a crisis. Simple as that.
Right. The thing is, again, if I look at the last year, a whole calendar year, I hear this excuse about injuries, right? But let's look at the Fulham game.
Okay.
Arguably, the four best performers on the pitch against Fulham were the four players that wouldn't have played if we hadn't had the injuries. Werner, to a lesser degree, Dragusin, Davis and Forster. Right? They were all the ones that wouldn't normally play. They weren't the issue on the day. They weren't the issue. The issue wasn't the squad players that we brought in. The issue was the mainstays. It's the ones that were normally playing that didn't show up. Right?
The issue, okay, the bad performance that game were we didn't have Solanke. We missed him massively against Fulham. If you dispute that, I don't know what to tell you. We also missed Vicario. As much as you want to say Forster was good, and he was. Forster was good. He made some good saves. We missed Vicario's ball playing. Did you notice how few times they passed back to the keeper?
Hang on. Forster was brilliant against Fulham. I'm sorry. Arian, come on.
I'm not saying he wasn't. He played a great game, but we missed Vicario. We absolutely missed Vicario.
Forster kept us in the game at times, 100%. He was brilliant.
I'm not saying he played a bad game, but I'm saying we still missed Vicario's ball playing ability.
Yeah, but when you're saying we missed Vicario's ball playing ability, we didn't lose the game because of Forster's ball playing ability. We lost that game again.
That's the sole reason we lost.
No, I'm aware you didn't.
We didn't lose, by the way.
It felt like a loss. It felt like a loss.
For me, though, we keep doing this, right? And again, when you look at the year
we do
of
keep doing it. We keep sacking managers. That's what we keep doing.
Sure, but just because we've sacked managers before doesn't mean a manager's good. There's two very different points there, Ben. And this is the thing. When we talk as fans, we want to group the two subjects together. Is a manager doing well versus can we sack another manager? They're two different conversations. Now, look, I'm not sitting out here, Sim and Ben, right? I'm not sitting out here saying, sack him now. He's got to go. He's got to go. I just don't rate him, right?
I mean, you are saying that, didn't you? You said he has to go. You said you don't want him here.
No, Sim. See, again, you're putting words in my mouth. No, I've literally,
I'm
sitting here telling you, I'm not sitting out here right now going, sack him now, sack him, right? If I wake up tomorrow and he's gone, I don't care. I don't lose 1 ounce of sleep over it. I think tactically, he's very, very poor. Tactically, we're seeing a lot of coaches now that are starting to get the better of Ange in games because this inverted fullbacks nonsense is leaving so much space in behind. Teams are not only overlapping on us, they're underlapping on us. And if you actually watch some of the real tacticians break Spurs down, they will pull this apart. As fans, I get it, right? And I get why I'm not liked, right? I get it. I understand why I'm not liked or why my view is not liked.
We like you, Sava. We like you.
No, but it's fine. It's fine, Ben. I get it, right? But the thing is, when you actually break it down, you look at the last year. The last year has not been good. It doesn't matter what metric people want to put it against. Form, points on the board, points per game. The form has been crap for a year. Right? So when we want to talk about project process, and I always say this, Spurs at the moment do this, right? We do this, up and down, up and down. If, only my opinion, and please everyone in the chat, remember this is just football. Please, just football, right? When I jump off a stream, I don't sit there going, Ange, right? If, for me to believe in Ange, boys, what I want to see is some form of progression from results, form, points per game, something to show that we're just steadily going that way. And factually, I know people will argue it, factually, we are not, guys. Over the last calendar year, factually, we are 9th in the table. In the last calendar year, we have won 4 league games away from home. This is not the brilliance of a manager that's won 4 away games in 19. That's not good, right?
Yeah, but also Sava, factually, if you want to talk about facts, after Ange Postecoglou's first 50 games, he had a very similar number of points to Jurgen Klopp and Mikel Arteta, and we all know how those two turned out. Or
but what
Klopp specifically.
What do we also know, Ben, about Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola?
What do we know? That they win things?
No, they got investment, he's going to say.
I mean, look, we could come. I wasn't actually going to say that, Sim, but you are right. Thank you. Right. I'll put that as point C. Point A is both of those managers we've seen do it at top leagues before at big football clubs. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, Arian, you can make the face. It's true.
Sure, but it's such a non-point. It really is, because it's not important. It's not relevant. It's really not relevant.
Of course, it's relevant.
It's not relevant. I disagree wholly. It's
the
entirely
proof of the pudding is in the eating, Arian, right? For people to judge Klopp and Pep versus Ange, right? I'm saying on what evidence? Now, again, if I was having this conversation, right, and Pep Guardiola was the manager of West Ham, Villa, Newcastle, we'd all be sitting here. You'd all be agreeing with everything I'm saying. But because he's the Tottenham manager, we all want to believe it's different, right? For me, do I think Ange is the worst manager in the world? No. Do I think he's tactically naive? I think he's massively naive. That he's told us, Arian, he's told us, right? He said, I don't have, what did he say? I have zero interest in being pragmatic. And his tactics on the pitch show you he has zero interest. Right? That for me is mind-blowing, how a manager that people want to talk about in the ilk of Pep and Klopp can say such crazy things, carry out what he said on the pitch, and then we wonder why we don't win as many games as we should.
Okay.
Yeah, to Arian, to Sava's point, when you do take a calendar year from probably the Chelsea game to now, as you say, we're 9th in the table. Is that good enough for the squad we have? Should he be doing more with the players that we do have?
Given what he's had in each and every one of those games, could he have done probably better? Sure, but I don't think anything that went wrong was primarily his fault. I think anything that went wrong was primarily the fault of something or somebody else. Okay? And by the way, Sava, you want to talk about tactical, you can't adapt tactical flexibility? You just listed Pep Guardiola as a manager who is the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
He is 1 injury deep. He is winless in 7.
Aaron, see,
I really want to know how do you reconcile those two? How do you reconcile it? Just tell me.
Aaron, this is where we need to bring the point back to sanity, right? Pep Guardiola, we've got to get it back to sanity, because this is a great argument, because Pep's having his worst run ever as a manager, right?
Yeah.
So we're just going to ignore everything Pep Guardiola, who other managers call the greatest manager in the world, right? And we're going to say, but tactically, what can he do? Pep Guardiola has changed tactics at Bayern Munich, at Barcelona, at Man City.
Right.
2 years ago at Man City, do you remember, guys? You all remember this, right? Man City came to Tottenham. I believe it was I want to say the first couple of weeks of January. They came to Tottenham. They were all over us. We won 1-0. And I think we had a man sent off at the end for the last 10 minutes or so, if I'm not wrong.
Under Conte.
Under Conte, right? 1-0, right? We won 1-0. I'm pretty sure they gave a bad back pass. And anyway, blah, 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 blah. After that game, Pep Guardiola came out, Ariane, and said, the league's done. They were like 9 points behind Arsenal. He went, the league's done. We're not in this title race. My players don't want it enough. Yada, yada, yada. He thought, God, he's got a plan. He's got a plan. They then had a 2-week international break. He came back, completely changed his tactics, went to a 3 at the back, put John Stones into midfield, and then Man City won about 22 games in a row, right? So when we're talking about tactically, please can we not use the best manager in world football as the argument, because you won't win that one, Arian. That's not right.
You just won it for me, actually. It was phenomenal. You did a brilliant job. You won it for me. You just described why Pep Guardiola is the most brilliant manager ever, and he can't even deal with 1 injury, and you want Ange to deal with 4 key injuries? Reconcile that one for me.
Arian, but again, see, again.
You won that. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Arian, first of all, don't be sarcastic, right? I didn't win anything for you. Again, you're looking at Pep Guardiola in this one moment of time, right? Yeah. You're looking at Pep Guardiola over a month. Over 1 month
over football. 7 games. Let's make it clear. It's 7 games, 7 football games. If Ange was winless in 7, I don't know what you would do.
Aaron, you don't have to keep being pedantic, right? A month.
I'm not being pedantic.
What are we doing here, right? If we're going to judge Pep Guardiola over 7 games, right? I'm not judging Ange over 7 games for Tottenham. You keep saying, the injuries. I don't believe all of this is down to the injuries. I don't think what Man City are going through is down to the injuries. Man City have hit a brick wall. Man City have hit a brick wall. Pep said it. Carl Walker said it. De Bruyne said it last week. All the pundits, they've hit a brick wall. They need to go again. They need to change. They need to take stock. They need to change up their team. They need to go again in the market. But they've just had 7 years of unrivaled success.
Yes.
We're not that. So when you're judging the situation we're in with the situation Man City are in, there's no relevance. They're not the same situations.
So whose situation should we compare it to?
Yeah. Why should we compare it to anyone? Why?
Because there has to be some sort of
how you're doing. No, you need to compare it to something, or you just look at it on the bare face. And if you look at it on fine, if you're going to look at it fine, how are we doing in general? We're 5 points off second. We're still doing well in Europa League. We're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. Like, why is there any need to panic?
Exactly.
But when you're talking about panic, I'm not panicking. I just don't rate him. like I don't get it. When you say panic, I've said this for a year about Ange. I'm not panicking now. Again, all of this, people say you flip-flop, right? People say this, that, not you guys. People say, like, fans flip-flop. Guys, how long have you known me now? Have you seen me changing my stance? Have you seen me flip-flopping? I've been very consistent. This manager, for a year, whether people like it or not, if they don't like it, they don't like it. But over a year, the form has not been good. The form has not been on an upward trajectory, right? So when people say things are brilliant, a victim of his own success, well, I don't know what we're basing this on. If people rate him, I'm not out here, guys. I'm not out here to say, Ben, Sim, Arian, what, you like Ange, you're idiots. I'm not saying you guys like him. Knock yourselves out. I don't care. It doesn't change my life if you don't rate him. But I'm looking at facts. I'm looking at evidence that shows me I don't know what he's done for so many people to rate this, because his form is now getting to the point where it's worse than AVB's. It's worse than AVB's, and everyone hated AVB. Everyone hated AVB, right? His form now this season is worse points per game than what Nuno was during his tenure at Spurs. These things are facts. And I'll finish it off by saying this, guys. You've probably, I'm not saying you guys watch my shows, but anyone who watches my shows will tell you, all I ever ask for, guys, is consistency. And this manager is the most inconsistent manager I can remember in terms of amazing result, couple of shit results, brilliant result, couple of shit results. Hence why, and again, this is why when Arian said it's coinciding with injuries, we went through a very similar spell before all of our injuries where we couldn't win games and it was 1 win in 7 or whatever, 1 win in 5. We're doing it again, 1 win in 5. Back end of last season, he had every single player fit and we had 1 win in 8. We can keep blaming everything. For me, he's got to adapt. He has to adapt, and he hasn't in 18 months. That is why I am where I am as a fan, right? I'm bored. The hype that goes with this manager, I don't see what he's good at. I don't know what he is good at as a manager. It's just me.
Okay.
Let's let Ariane finish off on this topic, and we can move on. But Ariane, what's your final words on the Ange situation?
My final words is, when you bring up a lot of these numbers, they need context, okay? And when you like say, okay, oh, he's worse than Nuno, he's worse than ABB, and everybody seems to like him, and everybody hated these two, unless your argument is that for some reason in the last decade a lot of Spurs fans hit their head somewhere, there must be a reason that many Spurs fans like this guy, even though maybe if you look at just raw points or points per game, whatever you want to look at, it's not good. Okay, and I'm not saying it's been good, all right? But in terms of pure results, because it hasn't. That's, like you said, facts. But everything needs context, okay? And the context is, again, back end of last season, yes, he had a lot of players fit. We still didn't get results. There was a trillion reasons for that. In the beginning of this season, we didn't get some results. Trillion
what were
reasons
they, please?
for that.
What were they, please?
When players come,
what were they?
I'm happy to tell him to. When Udogie came right back from injury, he had a 3-month injury. He wasn't on form. A lot of our Van de Ven, same thing. He wasn't on form. We still had Son up top last season. He wasn't on form, and he still isn't on form. A lot of our players have lost form. Had lost form. But we have a lot of players this season who are back in form. We have players in those positions, and when they're fit and they're playing and they're firing, we're playing well. Are we winning every single game that we're playing well? As on top of that, are we winning every game that we're playing well, Sava? No, we're not. But every single game that we've won, we've played well. Okay, I want to say that as well. Every single game we've won, we have played phenomenal, and there have been a lot of games that we've played very
phenomenal.
well.
Not phenomenal.
Again, we were phenomenal against Man City both times. We were phenomenal against Aston Villa. We were phenomenal against Everton.
Again, I think this is the difference between me and you, right? And maybe we can find some way to meet in the middle. It's the superlatives that are being thrown out are just way too much for a team that's had a really indifferent average year. This is the problem. We want
the year was phenomenal.
Pardon?
I didn't say the year was phenomenal. I said the game against Aston Villa was phenomenal.
Arian, I didn't say you did. Arian, I didn't say you did. Listen to what I'm actually saying.
Okay.
Right? When you say we were phenomenal against Villa, I think against Villa, the first half was was mediocre. And the second half, we had a brilliant 20-minute spell where we came out and dispatched them. Right? That's not phenomenal. This is what we do. We lose our minds and we go so over the top. Sorry, I'll ask Ben and Sim against Villa, right? First half was very meh. We went in 1-0 down. We weren't penetrating. Second half, we came out 20 minutes, bish bash bosh. We looked excellent. But to call the whole performance phenomenal, like I feel like we're now being disingenuous as to what being phenomenal means.
I think it's very rare you get a game where you're 90 minutes just playing free-flowing football for every single minute, and you're battering every team. This is the Premier League, and teams will have little spells where they're on top, and I think in general most teams just take advantage of when they're on top, and that's how they win games. And when you're scoring 4 goals like we have. And that's what we did. So I would say it was a very
an example of Arsenal on the weekend. Everyone says how brilliant Arsenal were on the weekend against West Ham. First 20 minutes, they scored 4 goals, blew them away, and they didn't really play for the rest of the game. I mean,
I agree. Hence why I wouldn't say they were phenomenal. I didn't think Arsenal were phenomenal. Against
you can't call me pedantic and then call out my use of the word phenomenal. That is what pedantic is. When I'm saying winning 4-1 against Aston Villa is phenomenal. Winning against Man City twice is phenomenal. That game against Everton, that is what phenomenal is. If you want to be pedantic and say, 90, you have to be perfect for 96 minutes. That of course, that is. It's very. I'm not.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Aaron.
Good.
From what I've heard from you say from this first however long we've been going, this is what makes me laugh about Spurs fans. We're phenomenal. Why then are there so many defeats and draws if we're capable of being phenomenal? Because what I've not heard, and this is the difference, right? I can turn around and say, yeah, the Villa game was very good. I've got no doubt. I'm not going to say phenomenal. I think it's an overreaction. The Man City game, I thought we were excellent the way we set out. Because I don't think we played Ange ball. I thought we actually set out, tucked in, fullbacks didn't invert, 2 centre mids sitting in front, allowed James. So
what are you saying, Sava? Ange adapted, did he?
I don't think anyone has a choice to adapt against Man City because Man City have 60% of the ball, right? Because if he's adapted, why haven't we seen it against Fulham and Roma, right?
So it was a Pep masterclass.
Pardon?
It was a Pep masterclass. The Spurs won the game because he.
I don't use the difference is, Aaron. I don't use words like masterclass. I feel like back in the day, football fans just support. When we won games, we said we win. Now, when we win games, everything's a masterclass or a disaster class. Look, for me,
Sava, what are you expecting? What are you expecting right now from a manager of Tottenham Hotspur? What are you expecting?
Some consistency. Some consistency.
If we were consistent, we'd win in the league. If we were consistent,
No. Are we gonna have a serious conversation, or are we just? That's so silly to say.
No, but it's true. If we're as good as we are on our best day every week, we'd be winning the league. We're playing very good.
No one's said that. Hang on, you've asked me what we need, right?
Go on.
Spurs are going to lose games of football. Of course they are. Everybody loses games of football. But our form is so up and down, constantly up and down. And it has been ever since that 10 games. Ever since that first 10 games of the season, which I appreciate, and I think we'll all agree here, was an anomaly, right? We knew that wasn't going to happen again. Not many managers will have 8 out of 10 in their first 10 games, right? Mm-hmm. We know managers have a new manager bounce, but normally it's 4 or 5 games. It doesn't tend to be 10 games, right? But since then, the up and down nature of this club, Simon Jordan said it yesterday on TalkSport. Every good win is followed up with a really poor defeat. He listed 4 in the last 2 months. And I'm not saying that every game, and this is the thing, I'm not saying every game needs to be like 4-1 Villa and 4-0 City. But no one can tell me a manager is brilliant when you go from 4-0 City to boom, right? To whoever we played after them.
But also, Sava, that problem predates Ange Postecoglou, by the way. Like, Spurs have been doing that throughout their history.
Sure, I agree with you.
Can I just say, Savi, you said you want to talk facts in terms of like Ange tactically. When we're talking about this season, and yeah, the form is very up and down, but when you're looking at facts, we are the top goal scorers in the league. When you're talking about goals conceded, we're 3rd least conceded, right? When you're talking about us being too open and all this stuff, where we've conceded the 1st least goals in the league. When it comes to the amount of shots we're conceding and shots on target, we're 2nd bottom in the league. When it comes to the amount of chances we're conceding, shots I should say, we're conceding. When it comes to the amount of shots we're having, we're 2nd in the league in that sense. So tactically, is that really the problem?
Sure. Let me come back to that then. So in the last 5 games, we've conceded 91 shots on our goal. 91 in 5 games, right? But to your bigger point, scoring goals. What did I say at the beginning? Yeah, that is very right.
In 5 games, we've seen 91 shots.
We conceded about 28 versus Galatasaray, 23 versus Man City. We conceded something like
look, even if okay, I'll give you that. But even if that's true, I don't know. I'll look it up. But even if that's true, we're still near in the Premier League. We're near the bottom of the league. We're like second bottom.
I'm gonna come to that, Sim. But the problem is, we can talk about that all we want, but we've lost 5 games, right? We've lost 5 games, and our form for a team that score a lot of goals. But what did I say at the beginning of the show? Scoring goals isn't our problem. Which is why when people talk about Harry Kane, it's like, well, that's not our problem. Our problem isn't scoring goals. The problem is we will always score a lot of goals all the while we're so open. Now, have we conceded loads and loads? No, we haven't. Should we have? Different question, right? Look how many goals should Fulham have had at the weekend, if we're going to be honest?
Look,
teams.
If you want to go with the should we have conceded, I can throw right back at the should we have scored in the Leicester game.
Arian, I agree. If you let me finish, I agree. But my point is, everyone can see we are wide open. It doesn't take anybody even with 1% football knowledge can see how wide open we are in these games. Fulham should not be coming to White Hart Lane and having that much of the ball and creating that many chances at our goal. They just shouldn't. Ipswich shouldn't. Galatasaray should not be having 28 shots in a game, right? So listen, I'm not saying we're the worst team in the world, but the form does not lie. The form does not lie. Whatever we want to say, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. I just want to see some consistency. And I'm seeing people in the chat saying things like, my expectations are too much. What expectations? What, to ask for a bit of consistency?
The word consistency sounds way more reasonable than what you're actually asking for if you break it down. Your consistency is a chain of good results. You're asking to win every game, or pretty much every game. That's what you're really asking. No, but that's what consistency is. Otherwise, no. I'm not trying to straw man you. I'm saying
we've got to be sensible.
Look, let me
I didn't say that. Sorry.
I know you didn't say that.
Sarah, let him finish what he says, and then you can reply.
You try to break down what
tell a lie to the
results mean.
That's what I've asked for.
No, I'm not. You haven't. I'm saying, look, I literally preface by saying, that's not what you're literally saying. That's not what you're literally. But if you try to break down, I want some consistency. After we beat Man City, we have to go win the next game. Of course, that'd be nice. But consistency as like a word sounds reasonable because when you're thinking about refereeing decisions, you want consistency. But you think about consistency across for results, that just means winning. Otherwise, we could be consistently losing. That's consistency. Is that what you want? Like consistency positively only means winning games. That's all it means. Constant positive results is your only real definition of consistency. Otherwise, do you want consistency? We are consistently winning and losing. We are going win loss. That is consistent. Otherwise,
we are consistently inconsistent.
Right. Exactly. Consistency what you're asking for is literally just winning.
What does consistency mean for you? What does consistency mean to you?
I'm not having this. I saw you do this when you went on with Stel. You misrepresent everything somebody says. I'm not having it, right? Nowhere have I said that consistency only means winning every game. I literally started off my sentence, and this is what, Aaron, if you're going to lie, then we're going to get into it, right? Because I literally started off my debate by saying, Spurs are going to lose games of football. I do not expect to win every game. And then you come back with, well, your definition of consistency is that you think we should be winning every game.
I literally said, I know that's not what you're literally asking for.
I listened to your lie. I'm not doing it anymore.
Go on.
Right?
So explain.
Consistency, right? In 5 games, win 3 of them. Grab a couple of draws. Go on a run for 4, 5, 6 games where we don't lose a game. Not win, lose, win, lose, win, lose.
We're 3 unbeaten at the moment.
I just can't. I don't.
Look, you want to say the run back one doesn't coincide? It's look. You want to talk about this thing doesn't coincide with injuries. Oh, and Spurs are going to lose football games. Okay, when we didn't have injuries, we won 7 out of 7. Is that not consistency? And also, we lost the Palace game. Is that not one blip? And then we had injuries. I can break it down consistently for you. But like I said, you didn't literally verbally say we should win every game. I acknowledge that. But when you say I want consistency, if you really break down what that means, you are asking for us to be on basically title-winning form. That's what everybody wants.
No, I'm not. No, again, no.
That's just what it means.
No,
it
Arian.
Sounds reasonable, but it's a misnomer when you say I want consistency.
No, stop. You keep doing it. You've just done it again.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Out of the 5 losses that we've had this season, turn 2 of those into wins?
You're saying that, Arian, not me.
Okay, then you tell me what you are saying.
No, Arian, stop saying what I didn't say, right? No, not okay. Look at the league table, right? Look at the league table. If you want to talk about inconsistency, Tottenham have won 6 and lost 5. I don't know what more evidence you need to see to show that there is inconsistency there. All I'm saying is don't lose 5 of your first 13, 12 games, whatever it is. If you make that 3 defeats with 3 or 4 draws, you start picking up a few extra points. But Spurs are win a game, lose a game. Win a game, lose a game. All right, we've got a draw against Fulham, but that's not a good result. We cannot go with just won a game. Let's now kick on and get another good win and then another one. I'm not saying 10 in a row, but we can't seem to get 3 or 4 wins on the bounce. We can't seem to do it.
With injuries, we can't. Correct. With injuries, yeah, it's difficult.
To be fair, we haven't been able to do it without injuries.
We've only won back-to-back games once. We've only won back-to-back games once in the Premier League.
You're
and that was Brentford and Man
reinventing
United.
facts, Arian. You're reinventing. Sorry, but Aaron, but we've not done it this year. How many times have we won back-to-back games?
I can pull it. Look,
it's only
how
once.
many times
in the Premier League? It's only once. In the Premier League, it's
once.
But do games only come in the Premier League? We won 6 out of 7.
You can't change it. No, you can't just.
I didn't change anything. I didn't say Premier League.
Arian, I fully expect, don't you, that Tottenham should beat Ferencvaros, beat Karabag, beat AZ Alkmaar. These games are games which should be winning with ease, and we won them. But in the league, we can't string more than 1 win together in a row, and I don't know why.
I think it's silly to keep going around in circles because we all know on this panel, we all know Spurs have been way too inconsistent for all our likings. I guess Sava's position is, he doesn't like Ange. He doesn't believe there's a future with Ange.
I think Sava's position is it's not going to change, and Ariane's maybe is it will.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Ariane's position is that he believes in Ange and he believes that Ange can turn this run into a consistent form, basically.
And I want to see that. When I see that, I'll start moving towards where Arian is. But we've not seen it. Again, no one can put it in front of me factually, evidentially, that we are doing it or we're going to do it. Because every time we have a good win, people go, the turning point. This is the turning point. Then the next game you go, Spurs again. This is my point. When I see
You know what, Sava? So many big managers have had the same question marks towards their name at the beginning of 10 years as well. I go back to Arteta, I go back to Klopp, I go back to Pochettino. Pochettino was a game away from getting the sack at Tottenham Hotspur once upon a time, and then Harry Kane free kick saved him, and then we went on a big run. So I do think Ange can turn it around, and I do think Ange is a good manager, and I do think he can find some consistency in this team. But I feel like we are going around in circles right now, and I don't know if there's any point. Just keep going around in circles, pretty much.
Sure. But is it okay for me as a fan to say that some people can just put their heart on their sleeve and say, we're going to see it? Other fans like me say, okay, show me it then.
Everyone's opinion is valid. Everyone's opinion is valid. No one's opinion isn't valid.
Sure.
But I think people saying they see it improving. I don't necessarily say they're doing it blindly. I think there is evidence to suggest that that could change. Like, first of all, you're seeing statistical evidence to suggest that could change.
But not factually there isn't, though, right? Factually there isn't.
There isn't factual evidence that 7th is better than 5th. Or sorry, bro, you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. Look, I don't. It's early in the morning here, okay? But our league position under Ange was an improvement based on the season previous.
Sure. But again, if we put that into context, look at the season before. When Conte left us, we were 4th. The end of that season with the end of the season with Stellini and Mason, it's going to be a mess, right?
Do you really think? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
I said last year that I thought we'd finish 5th the whole season, and we finished 5th. I think he did okay. But again, the first 10 games for me kept that going. The first 10 games did. The form in the second half of the season was atrocious. So what I wanted to see at the beginning of this season was, how does he change that? And unfortunately, the form at the beginning of this season, again, is still win, lose, win, lose, win. I just want to see a little bit of consistency. That's all I'm asking for, right? I don't think he's capable of it. You guys might think he is. I just want to see the evidence rather than just the hope. And for for the amount of people are saying that I'm toxic, and we're sitting. Do you know where I predicted this season? I'll say it on your show, guys, just so you know I don't flip flop. Do you know where I predicted we'd finish this season?
I'll guess 7th.
Ariane, what do you reckon I said?
I think you said 6th.
6th. Sim?
6th, yeah.
Right. I said we finished 7th, right? That's where I think we will finish because of squad depth, because of tactics, because of the number of games we've got going into Europe. I said I think we'd finish 7th because it's a long season.
Sava, based on the strength of our squad, where do you think we should be finishing? If we had a good tactician or a good manager, in your eyes?
4th.
You think we got the 4th best squad in the league?
I think that there's enough inconsistent teams in this league. That we could have. And this is the funny thing for me is, if I say this, I'm called deluded, not by you guys. If I say we're going to finish 7th,
deluded, Sava.
Like, I don't know where I'm meant to actually say that will make fans happy.
Whatever you feel. Your opinion is your opinion.
7th.
Who cares what people think?
So far, where are we in the league?
9th or something?
We're 7th.
We're 7th.
So far, up to 13 games, I'm not wrong at the moment. I'm not wrong.
But there's a lot of football left to be played.
You said it yourself. It's a long season.
Ben, absolutely. And you know what? If we win the next 5, 6, 7 games, a fan like me, what do? I turn around and go, do you know what? He's proved me wrong. Consistency, I think he's done really well. But the problem is, there's so many bad results, and it never seems to be the manager's fault. And I've never seen a manager back like this. I've never seen a manager with so much.
What do you think the reason for that is? Like, do you really think there's just, for some reason, a brand new influx of hopelessly optimistic fans? Like, there must be a reason Ange gets back more than the other coaches
in the fucking league.
Like, I think it's a lot of hope, and I get it. We've had no success for so long, guys, that we're all hurting and we all vent it in our different ways. Fans like me, I'm pissed off. I don't see it changing. I go that way. Other fans go the other way. I get it, right? And listen, Ariane and myself, I'm sure there's no hard feelings, and we'll have the debate, and we'll put
of course.
this on the screen. We're very different characters. I've seen this a million times before. I want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, do you know the worst thing that happens if I'm wrong?
You're happy.
I'm wrong and my team's done well. Like, it's not a big thing. I just don't trust the manager. That's all it is.
Well, let's hope that he can regain your trust, because I'm sticking with the process. I just think it's madness to keep sacking your manager, revolving door. We go through the same processes over and over again. And I have seen a few signs in times of the way we play that we can go in the right direction, albeit I think right now I am probably questioning him the most I've ever questioned him since being here. But I'm still going to be backing the manager until I feel his position is untenable.
I'll back the manager when I see him manage properly.
Do you think that the hope for Ange is, like, he's just lucky to be in the circumstance that he is? The same way I say he's a victim of his success. Do you think he's like a benefactor of Levy's failure? Is that what you really think he is? In terms of how many people hope for him?
That's a great question. Is he a benefactor of Levy's failure? Yes. He is a benefactor of Levy's failure. Yes, he is. And this is the biggest job he's ever had. So, look, I'm like anyone. Do I want Spurs to beat Bournemouth and then follow it up with a win against Chelsea? Of course. Want 6 points. If I predict we won't win both of those games, does it make me not a Spurs fan, or does it just make me a fan that knows Tottenham that has been scarred for many, many years? Right? If we bring it down to a cool, calm, neutral place, that's what this is, right? We've all been here many times before. We've all seen Tottenham Hotspur. They give you the hope. They go and batter Villa and you're thinking, kick on, and then you lose to Ipswich. They go and batter City and you're like, come on. And then we don't win the next game and you're like, oh my, like just come on, Spurs. And I just don't suffer the excuses as many people do. That's all it is. We're different. That's all it is.